And Jesse is missing.
I see two of us.
I mean, I'm here.
You there? You there? Jesse is missing. We don't know why. It's kind of a good thing, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
Welcome to
good,
Friday
thanks.
Night Aces
Hello.
Stream Edition. We got Adrian with us. And Adrian, I'm going to give you the cue for a second here. I'm going to go find out why Jesse all of a sudden has disappeared off the screen. It wouldn't be Friday Night Aces without a glitch.
Do you feel any cravings of blood or anything like that that might explain vampirism, something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. No, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think they use a lot of silver nitrate in digital cameras these days.
No,
so I don't think that's the
probably
thing.
not.
But hey, to all of you listening to the sound of my voice, maybe you're used to it from listening to the Second Circuit, the Fochts Network podcast. But I'm Jesse K. I'm here with Paul Clarkson and Adrian from Six Sides of Gaming. Adrian of Six Sides of Gaming. You're a key part of the whole thing that works. And we're doing Friday Night Aces, and we're continuing to talk about the network and setting up scenarios and pilots and stuff. And we have got a couple of things that we're trying to solve today. Hey, look at that.
Oh,
All right.
there he is.
I'm a real boy.
The man himself.
Is back. There we go.
Yeah. Anyway, I am here. I'm not just speaking to you from the ether, although if I had that power, I know there's lots of fun things I could do with it. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Welcome back. I'll hold it back to you, Paul, now you're back comfy in your seat.
All right. I apologize for that. I don't know why that happened, but we will figure it out. He didn't even save my new framing for you on there either. It kicked you off, and it didn't want to look at you anymore. But
I have had that effect on some people in my past.
So, welcome back to Friday Night Aces Campaign Edition. Tonight, last week we went over, created our first mercenary unit for BattleTech Aces with 400 points out of the book, and we defined what the character, or not the character, but the actual name of the unit, the network. And we got our mechs, and we've customized them up a little bit. We did have to make a couple of edits after the fact to the units for a couple of reasons. One, rule of cool, Beskar, when I modified your model and kit bashed it, it just needed some more missiles because the missile rack that I put on it was so big. I actually mounted an SRM carrier turret to the Nova. It looks pretty cool. Wait till you see it painted by Les. It's going to look really, really good. Because we did that, we had to change the point value a little bit, and we reduced the Marauder down a little bit, I believe. I think we changed its variant.
I haven't seen your changes
and
yet. I'm as excited to learn about it as all
we
you
upgraded,
are.
We upgraded the J-27 ordnance truck to have a trailer as well.
Hey. Andrew, technically you have twice as many units.
So now it will blow up twice as hard.
That is right. That is right. So for those wondering who Adrian is, second time actually on with BattleTech.
Yep.
He was on with us last summer with Tommy and myself. Adrian is the grand poobah of all things computers and cameras at Six Sides of Gaming. So anytime you see a stream go haywire, it's this guy's fault. I'm pointing the wrong way. There we go.
I'll accept it. Yeah, and I am filling the role of the BattleTech newbie.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. So
I have played exactly one game of Aces. And by play, I mean Tom and Paul told me what to do.
That sounds like playing with Paul and Tom.
Yeah.
So what we talked about last week is we are going to be running what we call Newbie Tech. And Newbie Tech was a brainstorm session we had one night down here in the studio with Adrian. And Adrian Robin, we thought it was a good idea. So Adrian's going to be the first of the newbies here on Newbie Tech.
That's right.
All right, so tonight we said we were going to go over a few things. We are going to do the roster layout, which is our four named characters for the unit, and then we're going to go through getting that fleshed out. We'll do some things like maybe unit. We know the unit colors are going to be the Fochts colors, but like unit colors for like our uniforms. Do some fleshing out of that. Character names for everybody though. So I'll throw over to Jesse for a quick second, and then we'll get things squared away, and we'll go from there. Okay? Any questions? Throw them up into the chat. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's do our thing.
Absolutely. So, while Paul's shaking some of that out, first off, just want to say again thank you to everyone for your support. Those of you who donated last week, both to get your names in and your mech choices in, and just to support the channel, that is a huge help to us here at Six Sides. Even if all you're doing is the like and subscribe, that's also good too. Tell your friends, etc. But for those of you who donate, obviously, we prioritized your requests as we were filling out the unit. We are going to be making decisions based on the pilots and stuff we selected last time around, but we're still going to have questions today, like how are we going to do the colors on the uniforms and things like that. If you want to absolutely sure we're paying attention to your idea, that is a admittedly mercenary but definitely guaranteed way to do it.
All right, so last week when we did build the unit, we touched on a couple of things. We built it through ACES with the 400-point system that we discussed. That's how you start when you do your campaign. But we also touched on a little bit of Force Manual Mercenaries. And with Force Manual Mercenaries, which has not been released yet, I have been given the green light. I can tease a little bit of it, okay? You have what's called combat command points, which allow you to build structure of a larger mercenary unit. So what we have decided here is that this 400-point unit that we've created, called the network, is one formation within the larger structure of the Force Manual Mercenaries build concept, that when that finally releases, we will plug this into that as well, so we can show you the modularity of being able to go from Hinterlands to Aces into Force Manual Mercenaries, and how they can all intersect and interact with one another in different ways, where your own creativity is endless, right? You can do pretty much whatever you want with it. So after we do that, then I am going to touch on how I have taken the Hinterlands contracts and converted them into ACES scenarios, because there is a little bit of a difference in how those campaigns work. One's a little more simplified than the other, and I'm going to show you guys one concept of how to do it, but and maybe inspire you to come up with your own ways of doing it as well. Okay, so first and foremost, we have named pilots from last week. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, the 4 named pilots that we had, of course, were Austin's custom character in the Axeman. So we're going to have to name Austin's character in the Axeman. That's going to be acting as the CO of the unit on the field. We also have everybody's favorite Beskar. Beskar is going to be a named character piloting the Nova D that's been customized. The customization, I'll get to that in a minute. And then we're also going to have Jesse K. Jesse K is piloting the Shadowhawk. So Jesse, being the game master of the Magnificent Seven, well, we're getting him his own character now in the Ill Clan era as part of the network. And that's what we're going to do, right? And then lastly, of course, we're going to have the gentleman to my right, to your, yeah, he's on my right on the screen too. Adrian is going to be in the Marauder doing the 4th named character. So everybody in the chat, throw in your 2 cents. What do you guys think? What are you guys thinking? We'll start with Austin first, or do you want to start with Jesse, or do you want to start with Adrian? Or Beskar?
Just bait.
No, I think we ought to be doing Beskar first, just because of how kind and considerate Beskar usually is in the chat, how generous he is about his feelings about me and Paul. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's start with Beskar. So
one of the things I did do, guys, you'll see these next week on screen. Okay, I did create custom cards for everybody. So I'll get this a little closer here. We got some cool Aces cards that I made up that have both the pilot card and the unit card attached to it. You guys can get a little bit better a shot of it there. These will be digital format next week on camera for everybody with the actual names once we get all this sorted out today. These are what we'll use on the table, though, when we're playing games in order to track damage and keep XP into the game, and then we'll transfer it over digitally. Okay. Mr. Classic Core, does the campaign have roster changes like Salvage? for sure. Somebody's going to die. Maybe somebody retires. Maybe we don't think somebody's good enough, like Beskar, and we kick them out, right? Maybe we have to hire people because we don't have enough mechs to salvage the field in the next track, right? These are all things that happen during the course of an Aces campaign, and of course a Hinterlands campaign or any Chaos campaign that you might have played in the past, right? So all those things are possible and likely to happen.
Works for me.
All right.
Yeah. No, you're definitely driving this truck, Paul.
Okay, so what do we got here? We got Beskar. My 2 cents on Beskar is Beskar's call sign's Beskar. That's I say that's my 2 cents on that one.
I mean, that seems reasonable.
Everybody knows Beskar for who he is. The Franken Mech he's saying in there.
Yeah.
What are your 2 cents there, Beskar? What do you think you're calling for a handle there and a call sign for your guy?
And while we wait for the chat to catch up, so what do we have a point value for that new Nova?
The new Nova is 33 points. I'll hand that over to you.
So it's gone from 29 to 33. I don't know how much of that will be legible on camera. We'll try.
And it went from a 2-2 to a 3-3-2, I believe.
Which is, yeah. No, it's got flak zeros in all ranges, IF1 LRMs, of course, because we're duct taping the LRM to the side. Jump of 10. Okay.
So what I did, the modifications that I made to it was I dumped the 4 useless double heat sinks that Nova D has. It dissipates 8 extra heat for no, or 4 extra heat for no reason each turn. So I got rid of those and pumped a pair of ATM 3s into it. So it's got the LRM 20 and two ATM 3s. So he's a little bit more of a fire support mech like we were intending to be, and it makes sense that I got this giant turret like a 1980s boombox carried on a shoulder, right? So,
right. Tree, that list got posted into the comments of last week's episode. It is, like we just said, it is now a little out of date, so we will update as we keep going. It also got posted onto the Fochts Network Discord server, which again, also a little out of date now, but we will continue to update both those locations.
Okay, so for now, unless I hear Beskar say otherwise, we're going to go unit call sign Beskar. Unless you got all episode today to come up with something better. If you know him, any of Beskar's friends and family watching, whatever his kid is his cute name when he was a toddler, whatever, you can message that to us, foxnetwork@gmail.com. You can do it anonymously, and we will pop it up on screen.
Beefcake.
All right, let's go to Austin next. What are we thinking for Austin?
Okay, Austin, she usually uses the call sign Glamour when we've been playing together. So we can start with that, certainly. It doesn't look like Austin was able to join us in the chat today, so we can run it by her later on, but Glamour is a good place to start.
I would start there. That works for me. That works for me.
Okay.
All right. Then we're gonna have Adrian. We'll do Jesse last. What are you thinking, buddy?
I have very few thoughts.
You have very few thoughts? Ask some questions.
What would you name a marauder who is likely to make mistakes?
So let's even go a step back one further. As far as possibly a nationality or a house affiliation that your character might have. You're not familiar with it. So in BattleTech, there are 5 main houses in the Inner Sphere. That would be Kirita, which is like an old school Bushido samurai warrior empire. You have the Free Worlds League or House Merrick, which, for lack of a better description, would be the equivalent of Coruscant in Star Wars, but an entire system of planets that operates like that. You have the Federated Suns, which is an amalgamation of what used to be Western Europe, essentially. That's
England and France.
England and France mostly, and then you have House Steiner, or the Lyran Commonwealth, which is a Germanic, Scottish, and something else mixed into it. They're very money-oriented, space dwarves kind of concepts. Is the best way to describe them. If you're going to give them a trope description. All money, they build things, they use the biggest, heaviest mechs all the time. Then you have the Capellan Confederation or House Lao. lack like.
They were Soviet coded in the 80s.
Yes, so
and now they're more in the modern era. They're more sort of neo-China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along those lines, right? And did I forget anybody there? No.
Those are the five.
Those are the five major houses. Then, of course, you got the clans. The clans. There are several of them that invaded about in this instance. Now we're in the Old Clan era, about 100 years ago. Clan Wolf, Jade Falcons. Each of the clans are like an animal totem. You probably don't want to deal with clans. That's just my 2 cents.
I'm also watching chat. I am keeping an eye on these suggestions.
And then there's periphery worlds, which are periphery systems, which are on the outskirts of those 5 main houses.
Firefly nations.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be the mech pilot equivalent of a bald eagle made of Wisconsin cheddar.
Space America doesn't really exist.
Well, I didn't say America. I said bald eagle made of Wisconsin cheddar.
It's very esoteric.
Who's the most?
Who's the cheesiest house?
Well, who is the most over the top like freedom? Like just I don't care what anybody. It sounds like maybe the one you were describing.
Yeah, I'm thinking Peacemaker while you're saying this, so that's
okay. Because it kind of sounded to me like the uber capitalist house might be up that alley of like the
Lyrans.
We're just gonna outspend and outfight you.
Outspend and outfight is Steiner's Lyran Commonwealth. Freedom is a Davian byword.
Yes.
Okay.
They're definitely the house that's like, we're coming to bring you freedom whether you want it or not. And if you don't want it, you get a bullet.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily looking for the oppressive nature. It's more of I'm doing my own thing, whether you like it or not.
Joe made
as like a nation. So
Joe made a good point in the chat. He says we got another Taurian.
Yeah.
The Taurian Empire is a Tauri Concordant is a periphery nation that is somewhere along those lines.
That is, I'm doing my own thing, and if you want to get in my way, I'll nuke you.
That sounds about right.
So Taurian?
That might be a Taurian thing. Yep.
Okay. So we'll give you a textbook to read up on the Taurians before next week.
Hey,
so,
you're not even gonna have costume stuff for me next week, so like.
All right. So Taurian Empire Concordant for your guy.
Tell me about Clan Snowraven.
Clan Snowraven. Clan Snowraven is
the Machiavelli clan.
That's pretty much
still
it.
an animal totem.
Okay, actually, before we go there,
okay.
Do the clans span the nations, or does each nation have its own clan?
The clans are their own nations.
Okay.
Short version.
Some of them have integrated into some of the houses or periphery states. So Clan Snowraven has merged almost in like a caste system with what used to be the Outworlds Alliance. So the warriors are the highest ranks always in the clans, but they've kind of really pushed down that society but as they've joined them.
Mr. Classicore just said Taurian is a bold choice, which makes me think I made the right choice there. So I think Taurian.
Taurian? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any kind of call sign, like if you were a fighter pilot in...
Yeah, so I mean that comes back to so I don't know the terminology like in the same way that a world like Shadowrun is going to have a whole bunch of jargon and everything else. I don't know the jargon for BattleTech. So
in terms of call signs, if you've seen the movie Top Gun, that's all the inspiration they took for their call signs.
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's it. And that's exactly what it refers to. So
okay. Well, I mean Deadbolt is what came to me when I was building things a minute ago.
It's pretty
cool. If people are cool with that, we'll just go with that.
Works for me.
It's nice and simple. It would come across the radio well.
All right.
All right. So far we got Commander Glamour, we got Deadbolt, we got Beskar, and now we have...
Yeah, now we're going to have to do Jesse K.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to actually name the character after my real name or not. We'll see. But since we're sticking with call signs, man, I don't know. I feel kind of bad choosing my own call sign. I want to know, folks in the chat, what you think. Paul's going to suggest T-Rex. Yeah. Paul is going to suggest Shorty. Paul is going to suggest...
I have not said any of these things.
No, you don't have to.
Stuart, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Stuart. And now, Stuart, you've got that backwards. Taurians hate the Federated Suns. The Federated Suns forget the Taurians are there. It's a very Toronto and Montreal kind of relationship. I don't know if
Are you a Davianist in this?
Oh yeah, he's absolutely he has a rotary autocannon, which we picked because that is my personal preference. No, this is absolutely an expat Davian guy. So we can lean in on all the what's a cool call sign that refers to the rotary autocannon?
So
It's like Bullet Storm.
for those watching, when I did his miniature, I kit bashed it, and how I kit bashed it was I took I believe it's from the Grey Death Legion Lance pack with the Jumping Shadowhawk, if I remember correctly. It's in the right pack. And I clipped the autocannon off the shoulder, at least 2/3 of it, left the main housing at the back, and then I took the autocannon, I think it's a rack, anyways, from the Dragonfire, because I had a couple of those. And I modified that and attached it, so you got a Jumping Shadowhawk with a really cool rack 5. Like it looks pretty sharp. When Les gets it painted, it's going to be, I think, the coolest looking one outside of the giant boombox that Bezkar's toting on that Nova.
Fingers crossed. So yeah, I was thinking something like Bullet Storm because of the rack. Tree suggests Joker, which I'm a little nervous about Warner Brothers' oversight on calling a character Joker, but I mean,
Joker.
I'm pretty sure there's prior art on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
It'd be all right.
Yep, that rack looks fantastic. What do you call sign 400,000? What's what is a nickname for an old like World War I machine gun? Ones they used to grind.
Oh, Tommy guns used to be called Chicago typewriters.
That sounds about right.
So typewriter has kind of a call sign feel to it. Man, I wish Tex was here because he knows all about the old guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vickers, Lewis, Maxim, and then Parabellum's not bad.
All right.
He was an
We could
aircraft
come
guy.
back to it. Let's give Jesse a little bit of time. We got some other characters here that are not named characters, but the rest of the unit to fill out.
Well, I'm going to write Maxim and Bullet Storm down for
Yeah,
now.
Maxim's good as well.
Yeah.
Bones.
Okay, so
Oh, a typewriter,
other
yes, of
members of
course.
the unit that we have my daughter Sky, who's in England. She's piloting the Locust 7V2. So we can come up with something for her. It doesn't have to be immediately tonight, but that is out there. Okay, we have
Oh, well, she's going for her PhD.
PhD? Doc?
She should doc or professor.
Doc or Prof. What do you guys prefer? Doc?
Doc's better.
Doc? DOC?
DOC.
Okay, Doc.
Yeah.
Unless Chad tells me I'm wrong about that,
Yep.
but Doc seems better.
So Doc works for Sky. Then, of course, piloting the Wraith TR5 that we got the cool card for here is none other than the creator of BattleTech Aces, Mr. Josh Dirksen. So in the past, I always called him like Artificer or something like, because he's always tinkering and building things, right? So what's a good call sign we can give Josh's character in this? You guys got any suggestions?
Yeah. And while the folks are... Oh, yeah, and Joe suggests that Sky, Doc, should be from the Commonwealth because they have the Isle of Skye province
Yeah, that's
there.
true. That is true.
That's
That is
pretty-
true.
That's pretty good. And while we're waiting, I am favoring typewriter for my
Typewriter?
call sign for now,
Oh,
just
that is
because
good, yeah.
that's very
Or
funny.
Type W. Just shorten it.
I like typewriter because it sounds like at first glance it sounds dorky.
Well, at least know you can reach the keyboard.
Well, okay, there you go. Yeah, see, and it's something. So it works for both of us, as long as we can keep that joke running. So I'm gonna stick that in.
Death Machine.
You've got like Pioneer, maybe.
Pioneer.
Josh
Yeah.
would be one.
Pioneer's a good one. Anybody out there got any good ideas for a call sign for Mr. Dirksen?
And his favorite mech is that jumping Marauder 2C with pulse lasers. That's not what he's driving here.
And he's got a Wraith.
But just as an insight to his personality, is he likes to move and he likes to be statistically accurate. He wants the best chance to hit. That's what he's always thinking of first.
Min-Max?
So, well, Min-Max is cute.
Min-Max? I like Min-Max. It's a possibility. We can come back to that one if we want. The next one I see on the list here in the pile of mechs. We've got a Flashman FLS 10E that was selected for none other than Tommy Gofton by the viewers. So there's all sorts of nicknames
All
we
right,
can come up with Tommy.
That one's bait.
That was big.
So everybody in this room right now, pick one word that makes you think of Tommy Gofton.
Late.
Late isn't bad. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, sleep in isn't a great call sign.
Sleep in.
Oh, snooze.
Snooze or noon?
Call him alarm.
Noon. Noon. High noon. High noon.
Yeah.
High noon.
Hmm.
Long Tom, yeah.
Long Tom's not
Long
bad.
Tom's not bad.
Yeah.
Misfire, that works as well.
What's the most embarrassing name you can give? Well, you weren't here, so.
we maybe we'll post a poll on this one and have have it up there for you guys to do. Okay, so we got some good ideas there for Tommy. Of course, Jesse is taking down notes here for possible nicknames. Well, we do have Tree's daughter Lillian is going to be as part of the team, so I think Lily's a good call sign for his daughter piloting the Firestarter.
But similarly, Tree, if you had another suggestion, I think you mentioned something about her being a Chaos Goblin last week, so there's that as well.
Meltdown's a good for Azakel said for Tommy Meltdown in the Flashman.
It certainly suits the Flashman.
Yep, absolutely. We have the Charger pilot. That's technically my character, so feel free. You guys can be brutal. I dish it out. I can take it. So you guys can be more than brutal with what my call sign is. Now that Charger is the variant that has the sword and the triple strength Myanmar. I didn't select it for myself. You guys did, so be as nasty as you want. I'm good with it.
I mean, obviously, his call sign is father, but we all mispronounce it to fodder.
Fodder. I like that.
Obviously.
I'm charging in the combat. Fodder. Hello, mother. Hello, father.
Grumpy. I like
Grumpy.
grumpy. Sleepy. Wheezy.
Fodder. I've got Grumpy. It's a TSM mech. It has to get hot, so something about its temper.
Yeah.
It could be temper tantrum or
Tantrum.
or tantrum.
Gridiron.
Ah.
What else do we got left here? You guys can keep coming up with names for me. We got
We've got
Glamour. We did. That's out of the way.
Yeah, we've got. I think next on the list would be Scott in the cavalry.
Cavalry
VTOL.
attack helicopter. My suggestion that I will not explain for Paul is highway.
It's that. Okay, I'll add it to the list.
All right. So Scott is piloting the cavalry attack helicopter, which is carrying the Grey Death armor, Grey Death Legion battle armor suits. The two of them together.
Is he the only air unit?
For now, he is. We only have the one.
I would call him Overwatch, but that's just my thought.
Overwatch. Yeah. Scott is a huge Aerotech fan, so anything aerospace and flight. Nuke is actually a good because he does use that.
He does use Nuke as his call sign.
Nuke is a good call sign. Airwolf works as well because in Nuke's cavalry attack helicopter, like I said, is Stuart's Grey Death Legion battle armor suit, which I'm going to touch on a couple of rule changes from last week that I've noticed that we're going to
But I do actually now that I think about that, yeah, I do kind of like that better than Overwatch because he's going to be dropping a nuke on the target. Just
Yes.
the nuke is going to be the battle armor.
That's right.
That's kind of neat. I think.
Yep.
Fair.
I think nuke is jumping to the top of my list right now.
So last week when we did the roster build, we bought. Paid for the points out of the 400 for the battle armor. So when you are building an Aces unit, that is the correct way to do it. But there's also the way to do it in Hinterlands. So in the Chaos campaign in Hinterlands, what you do is you pay the points for it, but you get a barrack. And with the barrack, it allows you to basically respawn your infantry every track, because otherwise you just constantly having your infantry getting shot out in the battlefield, right? And one of the advantages to that is that your barrack actually has 3 stands of infantry in it. It has the ones that are actively working, and then it has the ones that are training or resting. So you can, in each track, you can bring up to 3 of them actually on the field for the price of 1. There are downsides to that, though. So if you bring 1 and it gets killed, it respawns next track, all is good. You're just replenishing from guys in the barracks. If you bring 2 and they both get killed, yes, they respawn the next time around, but their skill level drops 1. Okay, so it's representing that you've lost guys that are more experienced, and you're putting more green guys out there. Lastly, in a moment, if you're desperate, you're defending the base or whatever, you can bring all 3 out. But if all 3 get terminated out on the battlefield, then you've lost the barrack, and then you have to spend the points again and start again. So I was thinking we go with that system of doing it. I talked with Josh with it. He goes, that's a great idea. It also gives having poor Stuart with the battle armor out there a little more viability, so he's not running through guys each turn, and it'll allow him to or having to pay for new units each turn, and it'll allow him to get some edge points and some special abilities with that unit, which could be a lot of fun and some chaos being created on the battlefield with power armor running around. Okay,
Fair.
okay, so
I like Uber and Soccer Dad both.
for me.
For Scott. For the
Scott.
helicopter.
Soccer Dad, but Scott, I don't know. I can't really call him a Soccer Dad.
You can call him Soccer Mom.
Soccer Mom, yeah. Drop Off is good too.
I like Uber.
Uber. I think Uber works.
Okay.
Uber works.
Uber to the top of the list.
Yep.
Uber
All
will
right.
still be around in a couple hundred years, right?
So now I was talking with Stuart off air, and Stuart says at Wednesday night Armored Combat he goes by the call sign Swan Dive.
Yes, he does.
And I'm thinking swan diving out of that helicopter is appropriate. What do you guys think? And Pretzel Bear, how you doing, buddy?
That's fair.
Hey, Chris. Good to see you.
I think swan diving from a helicopter would hurt.
Stuart is at Weekly Wednesday. We have not everyone can make it at the start because it's a weekday. So Stuart is pioneering the combat drop rules for people who show up late. So instead of walking on from the edge of a map, they get thrown into the action. And
gotcha.
Stuart does the luck. Sometimes a lot of mechs end up in lakes.
Yeah.
So swan dive.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
We're going to hope that this battle armor has a little more success than that, Stuart. But yeah, I think we'll call that swan dive. I think that's a given.
Okay, so that leaves us down to the final 2 in the unit. The first being Kermindy. Kermindy's been a longtime supporter of everything we've done here at Six Sides of Gaming. Huge supporter of the Aces initiative from day 1. Always active in the Discords. Kermindy's been a huge friend to us. So, Kermindy, you're in this Galleon light tank. What does everybody think Kermindy should be going for as a call sign?
Yeah, what do we know about Kermindy? Like, we know they've got their own stuff running over there. I think, Kermindy, you mentioned you had a 30-33. That's fun to say fast. Campaign going. Kermindy's also been sort of backstopping our logistics, so keeping track of our list building and stuff. So maybe something representing a little bit of authority and bookkeeping might be appropriate.
Bean counter.
Bean counter is a place to start.
Mint. Splashdown. All for Stuart. Splashdown. It's got to be a bookkeeper, the keeper, the register.
Bookie.
Bookie.
Bookie's got a real call sign kind of feel to it.
Just say Kermindy is call sign. We
Fair
can
enough.
go with Kermindy. That works.
Kermindy is a call sign.
Kermindy works.
Let's do it.
Okay, and now we got our favorite unit.
And thanks for that, Kermindy, by the way.
And thank you very much. Yes, I just saw that pop up.
Mhm.
Joe, please make someone other than me bean counter. So I call Joe bean counter all the time. Right?
We call
He can't-
Tom being
So lastly, we have my unofficial stepson Andrew piloting the J27 Ordnance Transport with trailer. He's got a bigger card than everybody else because I had to put 2 of them on there because they actually come separate on the mall. So this thing literally cannot do damage. And oh no, it can technically at short range on a 5 or 6 if it successfully hits.
Sure.
It's got an asterisk. So essentially, this is going to be an objective holder. It is fairly quick. It moves 10, right? So we can actually go run it on objectives. I gave it the trailer only because it couldn't take damage otherwise. It has 1 structure just as the truck. So basically, if it gets shot, it was out every game. So giving it the trailer gives it a point of armor and also another point of structure.
Boombox is great.
Boombox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
That could also be good for Bezcar.
That's true too.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about that is literally a boombox of like it's just ammunition. It's just booms in a box.
Which is so is the Nova, right?
Well,
it just
yeah.
has a box of missiles duct
yeah,
taped to the
fair
side.
enough. Fair enough.
Boombox works for both.
Target.
Target is good. Bait, yes.
Asterisk as a call sign is fun, but it doesn't roll off the tongue very well. Wanderlust.
Yeah, we just end up calling him ass, and that's just not.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're good here for call signs right now. We can go over it. If you guys aren't in there, feel free jump into the Focht Hyperpulse Discord. We have a channel for Friday Night Aces. We can continue that conversation in there all during the week before we get into the next show when we actually play the game. Now, I'd like to go on and touch about how we're going to run the campaign, how we're going to convert some of the Hinterlands scenarios into Aces scenarios, and what goes into that, and some ideas for you guys when you do get your own Aces box set and you want to start creating your own stuff. Okay, so first things first. Question's always been asked is, can you bring your own mercenary unit into BattleTech Aces? So something you've played in the Hinterlands. Obviously, the answer to that is yes. When you do that, there is a conversion of bringing them over. I'm not going to get too deep into the rules of that because I want you guys to see that when you open the box, and then we'll do tutorial videos after. But yes, you can convert them in there. When I say convert, it's about their support points to bridge them over so they fit within the scaling of the campaign that you're about to run for Aces. Okay, there are campaign adjustments based on skill level. It goes from rookie, standard, veteran, elite, and legendary. The differences between them are simply you get less starting points and you gain less support points through the tracks as you go through. Okay, so less reward with less units, and it makes it more difficult for you to carry on successfully through the campaign. Jumping over to a campaign round. So the campaign rounds are going to work a little differently than, say, in Hinterlands. So your contracts are slightly different in Aces than they are for the typical Chaos campaign. So in a Chaos campaign in Hinterlands, you're going to be able to do things like negotiate your contract by adjusting different steps to, like, maybe increase your salvage or increase your command authority or to increase your combat pay, things like that. You can adjust it, right? In Aces, you don't really have to do that. What happens in Aces is that you have a series of support points the same way. They're just scored a little differently because they take a little bit less. We take a little bit of that granularity out of it and make it a little more simplified as far as the bookkeeping goes. Everything runs the same as a war chest campaign. It's you're not really doing the negotiating. So one of the things that we're going to adapt from Hinterlands over to the Aces system that I really like, and I think it's cool because it helps the players get a feel for the vastness of what the Inner Sphere is the calculating the jumps and paying for your transportation costs. So there's really cool maps in the Hinterlands book that has the jump points on there. It also shows the players and allows us to go, okay, we're going to be 2 months in space. Maybe you can train, or we're going to stop at this world and do something here. We're going to buy mechs here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I like that mechanic, and I'm going to keep it for the Aces campaign for the guys and girls that are playing in this one with us on stream. As far as your post rounds, when you're running a campaign in Aces, it'll run the same thing as you do with your normal Hinterlands campaign. So you're going to post battle, you're going to get your XP, you're going to get your support points that you gain, and you're going to go through a series of tables to repair your mechs, make rolls to see the ones that were damaged or destroyed to see if they are salvageable. You will claim salvage at the end of every mission, and then of course you will upgrade your units, go buy new mechs, do all the various wonderful things that are available depending on where you are in the Aces campaign. So the Hinterlands book is a little bit more of an open world, whereas the Aces campaign, when it takes place, is more of like, think of it as you are doing one contract as opposed to multiple contracts, but there's multiple missions within that one contract, so it's a little more structured in the what you're doing and where you're going, because you're on one planet essentially. Okay. When it comes to doing tracks, so if any of you got questions, first and foremost, that if you've played Hinterlands on anything I've just said, feel free to ask that. When you're doing tracks for Hinterlands, they are much more open-ended, like I just said. Sorry, Commindy is asking, when converting negotiations, make it so negotiations change the scenario. Higher command means more allies bonuses, less problems, and vice versa. Yes, so when I was about to touch on similar down this path here with where you're going with that. So when you do the Hinterlands campaign, you open the book and it'll have a contract, and it'll say, play one if you're doing it one player against your friends, or you're doing it mercenary unit versus mercenary unit. Say one player does X and then roll on a table and you get a certain type of mission. You create that mission, you play it out, you collect your rewards, whoever wins, do your XP, carry on, right? Aces, obviously you're playing together, so there's not another player. The other player are the cards. So that means you're going to have to go in and actually fill in what the Op4 is going to do. Okay, so you want to create objectives for the Aces deck, because the Aces deck really, really shines when it has objectives that are written out for it to try to achieve on the board. Can you throw the cards down and just use it as an Op4? Absolutely you can, but we do have things on their prompts on the cards that are for objectives, so it will target things. So the more you program it, or i.e. use the prompts that are in your campaign book that comes to the Aces, you'll be able to have the decks perform and tell the story that you're actually looking for, right? So when I did the first mission that the guys are going to run here on stream next week is the very first contract. It's very simple. Very first contract, I converted it over. I rolled on the table. So the very first contract in Hinterlands, I'll flip over here to it right now, is the Lone Wolf Retainer. So for those of you that have played it, you may know this. What it is it's a garrison contract for 3 months for the players. And over the course of the 3 months, the first 2 months they're going to train, and then in the third month they get attacked by a player force, or in this instance it's going to be the Aces force. And there's a table there, and I rolled on that table. And I rolled the strike mission that they're defending. So the Aces deck is going to be doing a strike mission versus the player force. So if you were converting that in the book, and say you wanted to write an entire Aces track for just those two contracts, you would actually have to write 6 missions, right? You would have to write 3 from the player 1 perspective as a defender between the 3 different types of mission tracks, and then 3 from the attacker from 3 different wow, I'm tongue-tied, just talking too much today. Perspective of the attacker, right? So it's kind of neat that there's lots of different variables there. You can get lots out of it that are very different with the Aces decks. the things you would add into that, you would add in the Waypoint system. I'll touch on that in a moment. The Waypoint system is a narrative objective system that you've probably heard us talk about a few times. We've not used a lot of it on stream as we've been testing the mechanics and the robustness of the actual engine, which is the decks. Waypoints are something that are my favorite part of the game, and there's something you're going to see a lot of on the stream because they help the decks tell the story you want to tell. So I converted the first one, and when I did it, I had to create that strike mission. So I took the strike mission straight out of Chaos Campaign, put it in there, wrote up a little bit of a narrative for it, and then created waypoints. So I'll take a pause here for a moment, and we are going to talk about what a waypoint is, okay? So waypoints in BattleTech Aces are essentially objective markers that, when activated, they will advance the story or create an event on the game board that will affect in-game play or post-game play. Okay, Jesse, how familiar are you with the waypoints when you used them in the past?
Well, see, this is the thing. We've been talking about waypoints. We haven't done them much on the stream, but if you've met us in person, we've been bringing waypoints out to a lot of the conventions we've been running. Anyone who saw the Fochts main event table at any of our major cons this year will recognize the big aircraft carrier, and a big part of that scenario was having players find their way across the deck of this big ship, flipping waypoints to find their objective. You're also going to see some waypoints getting used in Mech 7 Season 2, coming soon, probably closer to November now, it sounds like, but still out this year. The long and the short of it is, waypoints are either tokens you turn over on the map and something interesting happens, or something that happens when the turn order advances and something interesting happens.
Yes.
That's the quick version. But I hand it back to Paul, but before we do that, giving him another minute to catch his breath, but also just wanted to say thanks, Chris. Thanks for your support. Always means a lot. And also, Chris suggested Alchemist for Josh.
Alchemist is good,
which
too.
Which is really good. I think that's jumping to the top of my list. Thank you for supporting us. And we got Karamindy. So back to where you left off.
Okay, so with the waypoints, I went in and I went, okay, here's the objectives. The objective is a strike, so whatever they're trying to do, I'm not going to give that away so you guys can watch next week and the players know what's going on. But it's a strike scenario where they're defending against a raid. So I went in and like, okay, here's my little story. I am going to add in 5 different waypoints, right? You don't, the number you add in is up to you. It depends how narrative you want it to be. I put in 5 for it. I put 3 that are going to happen on the turn counter. So they're turn-based. So on turn X, this event's going to happen. I'll read it out narratively like a Game Master in Dungeons & Dragons or Shadowrun or any RPG would give a narrative plot point. Other ones get activated, like Jesse said, on the board. There's different ways you can activate them. How are those? Sometimes it's just a matter of range. You walk into it. Sometimes that's defined by the game master or the writer of the scenario. It could be a multitude of things. Maybe you do something on the board that'll activate the narrative waypoint. It really depends on what that story plot point is that's going to occur, is how you're going to make it happen on the board, right? So these things are really cool. The Aces deck actually can queue off them. So certain different, they move towards it and then something will happen, or you can put them somewhere where they want to track it. That'll be their objective. You can actually put an objective marker on the board. They'll go after the objective. You can make another enemy unit an objective. So one of the things I've talked about briefly from time to time when people ask questions online is, how good is the Aces deck, operating in XYZ capacity? And I've always said you got to program the deck. Program the deck, it'll do exactly what you want. So one of the things I've done is the objective is the enemy fire support lance. So there will be 2 archers, a catapult, and whatever spotter mech that player A has. And I'll say the Aces deck before a game is going to take their striker deck or striker lance or their cavalry lance, and their objective is going to be the enemy fire support lance. And what that'll do is that will help the deck key on that unit. So they're going to, whenever objective comes up on the cards, they're going to want to go and prioritize hunting them down to get rid of them, while my battle lance heads to the middle of the field to hold the objective to keep those fire support mechs off me, right? Little things like that make the Aces deck do exactly what you want to do. I've always found that when you write scenarios in the past, they never survive the first round because players go after the VIP or they do crazy things, and the waypoints are a great way of making sure the wonderful story you've probably created on your own or the one that's trying to be told out of the scenario book maintains its flow, and what's supposed to or it's intended to happen will happen, only with a twist of how you've dealt with it.
All right. Well, so I think a lot of that is going to be a lot easier to wrap your head around once we're actually playing the game.
Yes.
So you'll see that next week in action. It's a lot more interesting in action than it is
Oh,
in...
no.
Yeah. And
No. I just saw the chat.
Tree, thank you for your support. Gremlin, I like a lot. I think I'm going to assign that to Lily.
Gremlin?
Yep.
Okay. Questions, people out there, for concepts for using aces. Anything you want to ask, feel free. You got us here.
And in the meantime, also a reminder, we've still got some of the call signs up in the air for... Yes, Tommy is on his way to the studio. We'll deal. For the folks, we still got some call signs up in the air. Paul, we had Fodder, we had Grumpy, we had Tantrum, and we had Highway. For Tommy, we had...
I was Tantrum?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
For Tommy, we had Misfire, we had Snooze, and we had Meltdown. Alchemist is pretty good for Josh. I think that's taken top spot. Bezkar, I think Bezkar or Andrew were going to be Boombox. We have to pick one. It sort of applies to both. Andrew also suggested Freebird for himself, which isn't you don't always give yourself your own call sign. Sometimes, but Freebird is on there as well. And we also could do with some more nationalities, like Paul's character. Are you still going to be... is that still like a Lyran origin?
I can be of anything. Doesn't matter to me. I'm like house neutral when it comes to BattleTech. I like all the factions except the clans. I like the clans, but I'm good with anything. You guys can pick. I'm a Charger pilot. I'll be Capellan. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, so anything but compelling.
Yeah.
Question about using aces. Hypothetically speaking, if I wanted to make a new command deck, what would I be looking at as problems to do it? That's a better question for Josh than myself. The command decks work in a oversight capacity on the game board. So they will control how you activate battlefield support points, and they will also take into account the current state of the game. So at the end of each turn, the command deck will ask a series of questions, if ands, if this, if that, if this. If you meet one of those conditions, you're going to change cards. And when you change cards, what it does is it'll flip those conditions to be more parallel and reactive to the actual current game state, so it doesn't stay flat. So if it's continuously pressing and getting shot up real bad, it'll acknowledge the fact that it's been shot up real bad. It'll pull back a little bit, become a little more defensive based on what the game state is. So to answer your question about creating your own command deck, the easiest way to answer that is A, Josh Dirksen can answer that better than I can, but 2, that's the basic premise of the decks. They're there to keep the deck competitive with what's going on in the actual game, because the deck itself does not have eyes and ears. You are always the eyes and ears for the deck.
Douglas Jefferson, we called Scott Uber, but he's in a helicopter. Obviously, it should be Lyft.
That's a good point.
Lyft is good.
I'm doing that right away.
LYFT?
Yep.
Well, no. LIFT for trademark purposes.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. LYFTE,
but we all know.
but
yeah. There you go.
Stewart suggested Fireworks Factory for Andrew's ordnance truck. I think just shortening that to Fireworks
Fireworks
is pretty good, and then we can assign Boombox to Bezkar.
Bezkar's mech looks pretty wild.
There's a lot of missiles on that thing. Bezkar, if you're still on there, let us know where you want your guy to be from. Ditto, Andrew. Tree, if there's anywhere you think Lillian, Gremlin would originate from, let us know. And Karamindi, what's your favorite house? Give us a shout. Okay, a little bit extra from Tommy in the chat there regarding the command cards, Kermindi. The commands are switching the Lance's movements and behaviors to prevent stagnant play and predictability based on how successful or unsuccessful they are in mission round by round. So basically what he's saying is that it's a way to help the Aces cards react to the action on the board. So if you want to make a custom commander right off the bat, you're thinking about the commander is checking the board, seeing how threatened the commander is feeling, and how orders to the units would be changed accordingly. Andrew, assume it's a fire. Oh, there we go. Karamindi like Steiner, so we're going to assign Karamindi's. Also call sign Karamindi to Steiner.
Okay, so questions continuing. Obviously, keep firing them in about Aces, but in the meantime, we will continue talking about the campaign here. So, the campaign, obviously, starting in the Hinterlands. Where? How do I want to ask this? Let's do a little bit of background history on the unit itself. So we've got the characters there, right? Where are these guys mostly going to be from? Like, what they got together, they formed this unit, the network. I'll get into more of the why they're the network next week when I explain the actual campaign setting. But you know, where is everybody based out of? Where are they coming from? Like, that's a spot where we need to collectively as a group decide what world are they coming from in the Hinterlands region. Before they arrive at their first contract. That's something that needs to be there. Color scheme we've already done. We've got all the guys' names. So anything related to that, put it up there.
Fair enough. I mean, right off the top of my head, like in terms of geography, like they're going to end up at Almutason regardless, right? Like the Hinterlands hiring hall?
Correct.
Yeah. So then how they're...
Obviously.
Yeah. Duh. Oh, okay, Tree, that's for Gremlin. You're saying from a Wolf's Dragoon Civco. That's cool. That's a cool origin. We're going to put that in for Gremlin.
All clanners.
The only good clanner is a clanner who defects to the inner sphere, becomes a mercenary, but then sort of becomes a clanner again, but then isn't...
Can we call him, like, Chafe or Chap? Can that be his...
My call sign?
Call sign? Because he's chapping my ass.
I could add it to the list. I've also got Paul down as a deep periphery origin right now.
Deep periphery? All right, what do we got here?
But, like, so deep no one's ever heard of you.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, Alamatason would be the origin where we came from. The first world that we're going to be on, though, as far as contract going, is going to be Elena.
Oh, we're heading... Okay.
Yeah. That much I will tease. We'll be on Elena.
Oh, okay. That's useful context. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, see, at least one of us is sort of helping you out.
Well, Chad knows more. I knew Chad knew more than either of you. That was a given. So.
Okay, so any more questions here for Aces, guys?
And similarly, any more call signs? Still have to narrow down the Tommy and Paul.
While we're waiting on questions, so Sunday night, it is Canadian Thanksgiving up here. Sunday night around 7:30, I will put up a post for, but we will be doing a stream on Sunday night. Tommy, myself, Joe, and Henny with the Kaiju mission that Tommy did touch on a couple weeks ago when we were doing the unboxing. So we will be doing that on Sunday. You'll get back to some pickup gameplay before we get into the campaign stuff.
I'll be doing Thanksgiving with family and such. I was going to say I'm sorry I can't be here, but I'm actually really excited to eat my own body weight. So I'll miss you folks, but have fun without me that one time. Where we left off. Okay, yeah, Tommy is definitely using voice to text because he commented deep purr I furry.
Hey,
so everyone
gotta figure, yeah.
Feel free to try to translate that for
I mean,
us.
I think we just found his call sign, though.
What is it?
Either furry or purr, one of the two.
Furry?
I was kidding. But
Oh, I don't mind being furry. That's fine.
Eh,
How many commander types will be there, and how do they differ? So, in the first Aces box, there are 2 commander decks. How do they differ? They differ by character. Some of the decks in the other boxes will be like characters or rank or who they might be, what faction they're from.
but also in terms of gameplay, the choices they make are going to reflect the character they are and the
That's
faction
correct. Yeah.
there. I know we've discussed this publicly, at least. Everyone's seen for a while. We've been demoing the Jade Falcon commanders who come with the Scouring Sands box. Those commanders are very vicious. They prioritize a weak unit as soon as something has lost some armor. A lot of the orders are like just gang up on that guy and wipe him out. Similarly, we've revealed that there's going to be a Capellan campaign coming out, and we've been experimenting with the Capellan commander, who has a very go out and die kind of order set. Like, find the objective and go kill it no matter what, and if you happen to get shot on the way, then glory to the Chancellor.
If you've watched our streams over the last 2 years when we've been playtesting the decks, the Jade Falcon commanders obviously were the ones we were using for the first year for the most part. And you'll find that the Jade Falcon commander decks play very meta. To touch on what Jesse just said, they're gonna go after the kill. Yeah, they play like a meta competitive BattleTech player.
But
they're not forgiving. Like they used to hunt Tommy and I down quite regularly. Like we had a very low win rate against them for a long time.
But whereas a lot of other commanders might play more defensively and prioritize sort of protecting their own units, or other commanders are going to focus at the objective to the expense of other things, etc., etc. Using those when we call out priority red target or blue target or yellow target, the different commanders will choose those targets based on their personality. And I've talked about this at the cons a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot of what's happening then is so you end up with the Aces opponent it's not just an AI playing the game the most effective way possible. It starts to develop a personality because you start to understand how the commanders behave. They might not always make the most meta, like appropriate move, but they make the move that Capellan person would have done, or the person in that situation would have done.
The thing you add to that is you have that commander deck, and then you add in those waypoints we talked about. And then the waypoint continues to push that deck to operate and behave in the narrative flavor that you've intended from the start, right? So that's what makes it cool. That's why you see a lot of the times those decks actually follow through on what they're supposed to do, and they achieve it. It's because it's being supported on multiple layers within the system, right?
Mm-hmm. Tree wants to know how easy it is to use in MechWarrior Destiny. Right out of the book, MechWarrior Destiny has its own separate way to handle battle mech combat from a role-playing perspective. As you've probably seen in the Magnificent Seven, we prefer to mix the two. We use MechWarrior Destiny for our role-playing, for our characters, for meeting at the tavern, essentially. But when it comes time to play the action, we play Alpha Strike and build in the Aces. In that sense, it's very easy to use with MechWarrior Destiny. You just switch from one to the other, and we really like how that worked. At 2 seasons now of the Magnificent Seven has been fantastic working that way. Technically, it is 2 different game systems. If you want to use the battle mech combat that's included in MechWarrior Destiny, that's not compatible with Aces. Aces is meant to be complementing the Alpha Strike system.
Douglas asking, how do objectives modify the commander's behavior, or do the objectives have that effect? So the waypoints will have an impact on the game which the deck is going to want to interact with. That's how it's going to do it. So when...
Yeah, well, if I may, I think the answer to that is basically the waypoints and objectives reflect things that the commanders know about.
At times.
Well,
sometimes
that's
as
what
well.
The
No.
deck, theoretically, that's what the deck does. It's like the players may or may not know about it, whatever, but like the commander is, okay, whatever I'm going to do, that objective is my target. So it doesn't modify it so much as it's like their that's the target
yeah.
of
It
their
make it
affection.
makes sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, think about it like a variable that gets filled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the commander might say, okay, your priority for this move is to move closer to the objective.
Right.
And then you say, well, is there an objective on the board?
Which there may
And
not be.
Which there might not be, or there might not be at the time.
Right.
Etc.
And that's how when you're going through the series of if ands on the cards, you'll see objective. If there is no objective, you just carry on down to the next if and it bypasses it. Right. That's where I said doing things like adding a little bit of programming into it by saying I want you to focus on the enemy's fire support lance. Add that little bit of flavor into whatever mission you're running. All of a sudden now, instead of bypassing objective on the card because there was none in your original scenario, you've added that in there. Now it's going to go target that extra enemy lance, right?
Yeah, Mr. Glasscore, I think that's a fair statement, yeah. So the question is, so the waypoints can be used to push the Aces deck towards a more narrative or flavorful style? Absolutely. You can decide whether the waypoints are an enemy or a location or whatever.
It could be an effect, it could be an environmental effect, it could be anything, right?
And yeah, to your point, it's just a variable. It's just whatever's the current waypoint objective, whatever it is, that's the target of the commander's affection / hatred at the moment.
Here's an example. We run a scenario at Weekly Wednesday every once in a while that's a dropship assault. The Aces deck deploys a couple of lances to protect this dropship. For the purposes of movement objective, the Aces considers that dropship its objective, and the mechs don't want to get too far away from it. So the first instruction on the card, because there's a movement objective, is get to that objective, and if an enemy wants to overlap with it, then prioritize that enemy. Later in the scenario, when it's time for those units to withdraw, the objective all of a sudden becomes a get to the dropship and go in the door. So the objective has changed. You still read the card the same way, but now when you're playing it, the person playing the Aces deck knows, nope, now I want those mechs to get to that location and board the ship.
Yeah, and the objective could just as easily be when X occurs, your objective becomes to retreat.
Exactly.
When we did the Anime North scenario with the big aircraft carrier that you saw, we had waypoints on the deck of the ship. Some of the waypoints on there were like, you go, it's random, they don't know what it is, it doesn't say anything. They flip it over, it reveals a letter. We go back, reference the chart, what's that letter? A, and then they'll find like an active ordnance truck on the deck of the ship, and then it goes veering across, and you can point it at somebody and blow them up, right? That happened a few times. Or you find the VIP, right? You flip over the waypoint, boom, it's randomized. We put it in a random order, so that way the players didn't know where it was. We didn't know where it was, and it finds the VIP. Now the VIP is on the board. Now they got to go rescue him and get him off the board. Things like that. You can literally use them for anything you want. They're very, very versatile, and they give a lot of flavor to the game.
They're not edible.
They're not.
While we're talking about using them for anything you want and how the flavor they add, do not actually eat the waypoint tokens.
And Kermindi, yes, you can make the waypoints ambushes, things like that. It can be literally anything.
You can use edible things as your waypoint tokens.
That's true. I wouldn't
should
stop you.
desire.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions there for?
We do still need to settle 2 call signs and some origins.
Have we settled mine yet?
We haven't.
That's good.
We added Chap, so now Paul's got a whole list. We've got Fodder, we've got Grumpy, we've got Tantrum, we've got Highway, and we've got Chap.
Chap. Where does chap come from?
As in your chap in my ass.
Oh, and Tommy suggests also you could be Jabroni.
Oh, God.
So there's a whole list. And put it this way, if anyone wants to do another, what is it, Super Chat, or what it's called, and get priority on that, pick one.
Fair.
Similarly, Tommy's pool right now is Misfire, Snooze, Furry, and Meltdown.
Snooze.
If anybody wants to make a priority, they could there. Just keep in mind, I do believe Tommy is in the room right now.
That's why I'm laughing even harder.
So I just want it to be your fault and not mine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Highway.
My way or the Highway King. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, and we also, what do we need? We need a place of origin for Josh's character, Alchemist. Josh is not in the chat at the moment. Now, his favorite mech is a clan mech. Does that mean that he would want his character to have a clan origin?
Society.
Ooh.
That could be his call sign too. Society.
I like alchemists.
They're
better,
Yeah,
they're
Alchemist,
scientists, right?
but I'll give him the society origin. That's interesting. Adrian, the society are essentially clan mad scientists that tried to take over.
I dig it.
And they live in a society. Okay, I'm gonna put that.
Oddly.
Yeah, put that as the origin. Bezkar, if you're still in there, let us know what you like. Thanks so much, Karamindy. Always appreciate your support. Pardon me.
Boombox, I like for best
And
guy.
Andrew Lick, we need an origin for you as well. So if you're still in the chat, give us a shout. Or if anybody in the chat wants to jump on that and tell Andrew what his origin is.
Andrew's
feel
from
free to say
Canopus.
that as well. He's from
Canopus.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
He's from Canopus.
We're going to put Canopus unless anyone has any other... the Magistracy, the unfortunate 1980s sci-fi written like, this is the nation where women come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Canopus guy.
Fair enough.
It's, there is one piece of art that's very clearly traced off of a Shadowrun piece of artwork where there was a cat girl. And now when anyone in BattleTech wants to have cat girls, they know they come from the Magistracy of Canopus.
So I have an unrelated question. I actually have to. I'm going to cede my seat to Tom in a few minutes. But I had asked earlier if you wanted to do for avatars and stuff. If you want to do more illustrative versus photorealistic. What do people?
What's
like? Do we want to go cartoony? Do we want to go not like Bugs Bunny, but like cartoony or more realistic? What do people think?
Yep, that's a good question.
Chat.
When you guys see the avatars, when we start popping them up on screen in coming weeks, what would you prefer? Like realistic? Would you like them cartoonish? Would you like them, anime style? Let us know. Let us know.
Yeah.
As for my origin, make it a refugee from the Phelan system after Rasahag Dominion took it.
Okay, we can do that.
Sounds good.
And now he's here piloting a J-27 ordnance truck.
Well, that was Karamindy for that. Andrew was saying he wants to be from my home planet because it's contractually required by Technic. Oh, because Andrew's driving the
Ordnance
truck
truck.
of ammunition, and I have the rotary autocannon.
Fair.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
three
the-
quarters of his cargo is.
We
For you.
literally,
Right, it's literally for typewriter.
we literally have a player character for the Ilklon era version of Banquo.
Yeah, kinda. Okay, yeah, Andrew, that's gonna give Fireworks a Davian origin to be with typewriter. Yeah, and he's basically like as part of typewriter's contract, you have to come along and drive all his bullets.
All right, so this leaves me and Tommy.
Well, Tom has a goal going for his. So
What's his goal?
if you hit the goal, he'll name it Furry. It's in chat. Yours, I mean, it's got to be Grumpy, right?
Grumpy?
gotta be.
Grumpy works. I'm down with Grumpy. That doesn't bother me.
Come on, folks, we need to hit that goal to make Tommy furry, which rolls off the tongue real poorly.
Remember, we're making costumes. We are making costumes.
There definitely was a Friday Night Aces way back in the day where Paul lost a bet or some such and had to wear Clan Wolf furs.
Oh, yeah, I wore the wolf furs. I
So
did.
there's definitely fur in here. We just need a few more people to fill that in so we can make Tommy furry.
That's right.
Folks, this would make me so happy.
Right.
It would make me so happy.
Yeah, and
Help out.
by contrast, I think if the goal doesn't get hit, he won't name it Furry. So,
Yeah.
like, I think that rules it out. So, I mean, I think you got to, right?
Pretty much.
Tom, do you want to come take my seat? I got to go because I'm going to be streaming scary games in like 20 minutes.
Fair. All right, folks, we're going to say thank you and so long, but not farewell to Adrian. Thanks for joining us, Adrian. You'll see more of him.
You will see me soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Next Friday.
And also, really, when you see anything on this channel, you're seeing some of Adrian because he's the guy who's making all this work. So, in your heads and in your homes, please give the man a round of applause. We are now swapping him with Tommy Gofton, who we also love, who is going to be furry if we get a few more donations, but otherwise wants to be
Hey, buddy.
hot wings.
We call this a rating spike.
There we go.
You can raise your chair up a bit if you want.
Okay, good.
There you go. There, look, he's booster seat. Booster seat.
There we go.
If you accept my grumpy, I'll support your furry.
Oh man, Grumpy and Furry. Wow. Statler and Waldorf.
It's like we're 3154 Sesame Street characters.
Oh boy.
Hey, that works for me. I'm liking every part of this. All right, we need 2 more. We'll see how that goes.
I'll even wear furry ears. I'll wear like my Fox ears. That'll be fun.
Literally.
I'm not a
Fox.
furry, but-
Fochths.
No.
Right. Okay.
Fox ears.
No. All right, you got. Sorry, I was using voice to text while I was driving here. But if you have any questions, I'm not here for too long because I actually have to get going. I got to get grocery shopping and stuff. But I'll hang out for 15 minutes.
Always
I got
good to have you.
I came here to pack down some gear for Gamehole Con, which is a RPG convention. There will be some BattleTech there in Madison, Wisconsin. It is the best run convention in the world. Fight me. No, it is very, very good. It is one of the best run conventions I've been to. Paul is just Grouch then. You Grouch.
Grognard.
Grouch or Grognard.
He calls himself a Prognard.
Prognard, I am. I'm a progressive Grognard.
I'm typing in Prognard into the bucket. We'll see.
Well, Kermindy can't just do them all. Come on, Kermindy.
Kermindy, you can do them all. It would be cool to see other folks as well. Tommy, while you're here, what have you missed? So your character in the network is going to be piloting a Flashman 10E.
Yeah, he told me about it.
Okay.
This is just for fun? What is this?
Oh, no. This is the real deal.
No, but this isn't like Mech 7 or anything.
No, this isn't the Mech 7. This is going to be our ongoing.
This is 100
campaign.
years after the Mech 7.
Okay.
So you are going to be lighting the fires.
So what the heck's the difference between this and the...
Harlan Storm is
the-
pushing up daisies when this takes place.
Harnesstorm never dies.
Well, then
Taking
he's
the eternal
very,
dirt
very,
nap.
very old.
Yeah, he's-
and uncomfortable in that cockpit.
Yeah. He gets hit and he has to do a bone density check
Yeah.
on whether he breaks his hip just from the shake. Grumpy,
Yeah,
furry,
make an
sleepy-
Alzheimer's roll.
The super chest system is very finicky, yeah. Okay, this is almost a Highlander.
Except it's later.
Well, it's got less
Less pips.
pips, yeah.
But it's faster. It doesn't jump, though.
It's faster. Oh, it is faster. Wow, twice the speed, to be honest.
Is he like Devlin Stone?
Oh,
There
I
we
guess
go.
my call sign is furry.
All right, folks, thank you so much for your support. It's always hugely appreciated. And also, we get to call the pilot for Tommy's Flashman
Oh,
Furry.
Sing and dance for me, furry.
Oh,
That's Andrew. All right. Anybody got any questions? We're going to be wrapping up for Friday night. Friday, we will be starting our Aces campaign with the Hinterlands, with Andrew, myself, and Jesse. Of course, all of you that are in the campaign, we encourage you to be here to help make decisions with your mechs. Before then, though, Sunday night, 7:30, me and this guy and Henny and Joe will be having our Thanksgiving dinner here at the studio, and then after our regular Sunday afternoon D&D stream, we will be down here playing some BattleTech with Kaiju.
I'm very excited about that. I really wanted to. I miss doing that. It's going to be built in a way. Save your toonies. We call them toonies in Canada. Save your super chats and your stuff. It's going to be built in a way where we're going to treat it like the Magnificent Seven, where they basically die. Like they're basically, well, they don't all die, but they're spoiler alert, the Seven Samurai, where they hold their ground until the last one is standing. We're gonna do the Mech 7 versus the Kaiju. The Kaiju are asymmetrical. They're gonna basically be stomping us. The goal is to have the Kaiju through Aces crush us, and hopefully you as the viewers can augment and try to keep us alive as long as possible.
What I was thinking is we use the Aces deck for the Kaiju, but we play Classic.
We don't have that kind of time.
It'll be quick. You're going to get stomped on.
Hey, Sergeant Ark.
Doug, just to answer your question, how do you go about choosing the mechs for each set? like as in the mechs for each of the 4 box sets for Aces. Josh did touch on this briefly. There is a bunch of criteria that was involved with it. Obviously, you don't want to have too many mechs that have already been released already and what's already on the schedule that people know about. The other thing is that you want to make sure that the mechs are era specific and work with the narrative, but most importantly is you have to have mechs for each role to match the decks in each box set, right? So there's a multitude of factors that go into that. And then you get, of course, the narrative factor, right? So
and
that's
thank you, Sergeant Art, for becoming a pretty good member, or re-upping it at least. I know you've been here a few times. The BattleTech community, I gotta say, you guys are pretty good. You must have good jobs because the BattleTech community is so supportive, and they speak with their dimes and their dollars, and they do it in a very powerful way, which is why BattleTech is growing so well. It's very appreciative to see that. Here at Six Sides, BattleTech kind of dominates because of you guys, and that's a great thing. So it is nice to see that, and all that just basically goes into cool stuff like this, like Paul's board here, which you can't
Grumpy's popular.
Yep.
see. Grumpy, yeah, you're being popular.
Grumpy's popular.
I don't know, man. Rating spike. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. We need to do more membership content anyway, because there are lots of things that we're doing that's special for the membership base, because we want members, right? Well, Aces boxes be Ilclan era.
Yes.
All 4 boxes are Ilclan era
However,
for the Alpha Strike release.
Rumor has it seems to be going around with me lately. Everyone keeps messaging me going, rumor has it. Rumor has it that there might be some additional books released in the future for Aces, not entire box sets, but book supplements, which allow the boxes and or your minis to go through things like Clanner era or pre-Clan or Jihad or all kinds of cool stuff. So we're developing a lot of books. So let's see what happens next. Hi, Jesse.
Hey, Tommy.
Good to see you.
We should also restate that the Aces cards are actually pretty agnostic. The boxes that you're buying come with a campaign book that takes place in the Ilclan era and with units that are geared towards Ilclan era. But you can take those Aces cards and run yourself a 30-15 scenario if you want. They slot right in.
I did 2 years of engine play testing with those decks. I did not one run scenario in the Ilclan era. They were all in the Clan Invasion era or the Jihad era. Even some of them were in the Succession Wars. Nothing was run in the Ilclan era. So they are very agnostic. They will run anything.
Wargaming Wanderlust. They will all be beefy and juicy. You will get the same amount of plastic in each one. Give or take the variance of the size of the mechs and or pieces, you will get
other kinds of units.
Well, there are all different units. Like there's lots of between all 4 boxes, you will get a plethora of new plastic you haven't seen. Some from metal forms going into plastic, and a lot of alternates. The big thing is you also get new terrain in each one. Like how you get the sandy hills, the bridges, and the rivers and stuff. You'll get new terrain biomes of the same caliber. So if you're not into doing the sculpting and the really cool 3D terrain look here, you can go for that and make that your box sets. There will be new command decks, new mech decks, like what are they called? Roll decks. All 4 boxes will have enough unique content that it's worth getting all 4. You're gonna want to get all 4 anyway, if no other reason than the plastic and the scenarios. And it's an ongoing scenario that can plug and play between any of the 4 boxes. Meaning, you can start at box 3, and it gives you instructions as to how to pre-build yourself, as if you had run through box 1 and 2, making executive decisions with experience.
Each box set is essentially the same as an Alpha Strike release. That's the template for each box set. So you're gonna get the Op4 in each box, the cards to control that Op4, which you can then take and use for your own stuff. Once you finish the campaign in the box, you can do.
That was actually one of my selling pitches to when I was pitching the project. The first thing I said was, "What if we made BattleTech solo play or cooperative play?" And they were like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Well, what if we made it solo play and cooperative play?" Well, how I don't know how we do that. I'm like, "Well, we already did it. It's already done." And then the second pitch was, "Well, what would it look like?" And they were talking about just releasing the cards as a solo thing. And then, it was actually Randall that was like, you can't just release cards. Like, if it's just decks, like a small deck of cards that you sell for $10, that's going to be cool for the game. But, this could be like an absolute literal game changer in the in the miniatures industry. And everybody agreed that it's like, this is going to change, like it's getting families involved. And so we were like, you know what? Let's go all in on this one and make it a big beefy box. And well, what are we going to make it look like? And I just said, the economics is simple. Alpha Strike is a very healthy box. You get a healthy amount of material in the box for the price that you pay. I think it's good bang for the buck. You get, what do you get, like 9 plastic, 12 plastic?
13.
13. You get 13 plastic, you get buildings, you get books, you get tokens, it's like Christmas time. You open it up and all this crap falls out and you're like, oh my god, this is awesome. So do the same thing for each Aces box. That's what I said. You just take Alpha Strike, you take its financials, you find out what the cost of goods are, and you just swap. But obviously, there's not that many cards in the Alpha Strike box, and there's not a second booklet. So that cost just got swapped out for a few pieces of plastic. So you're getting the same financial value as the Aces box, but the reason why it's a few plastic pieces less is because the cost of that plastic makes up for the cost of the cards, so that we kept the product at a reasonable point for purchase. Otherwise, you guys would buy it if it was $200 and packed full of stuff. We know that. But that's not the point. The point is we don't want to make it so that way, the people who can afford to buy it will buy it. We want to make it accessible for kids and families to get involved, so that more people get into BattleTech, because the more people that play BattleTech, the more we fuel the engine. The more we fuel the engine, the more Catalyst Game Labs releases more product and expands the team, gets everything all settled up, and then you start getting all this cool organized play, and we become more relevant, and everybody
You get to
everybody's
see
happy.
me more. That's important. Buy Aces, see more Paul.
Not the best pitch, but
So, but Classicor, to answer your question, it's a two-part answer. Do you need to buy multiple boxes for multiple decks of Aces? Well, number one,
Yes.
buy multiple boxes of Aces because this guy gets to retire.
yes, because we worked hard on it.
But to answer that question,
I wish
it's
that
the
was
same
true.
thing. Why would you buy multiple boxes of Alpha Strike? Because you want the minis, right? So when you want more cards, how big of games are you running, right? And it goes back to the why did you buy more minis? Because you're running bigger games. So it's a yes and no question.
Yeah. Plus, you might want to paint them differently. Like, you might want to take,
Exactly,
maybe this
exactly.
Kraken is going to be Mech 7 schemed, right? We'll do
Like
it
we have rules in the rule book. There's explicit rules in
Stuart.
here to create your own decks and using smaller decks, and we use them all the time. So like if it comes with one deck for each role. So you have an ambusher, but if you have 2 ambushers on the field, you split it into 2 3-card decks. Every 3 turns, you shuffle the cards together again and start it over again.
I
Right?
can't believe you would show that book on 1/3 the screen, Paul.
On 1/3 the screen. There I am.
I would also like to stress that not all the Aces cards are identical from box to box. Most of the common roles are covered, but different boxes may have specific kinds of units that have very specific kinds of roles that you won't get in another box.
Oh no, yeah, there won't. The repetition will be nil.
There's zero repetition. So the ambusher you get in box 1 is different than the ambusher you get in box 2, 3, and 4. Same thing. But what Jesse was touching on there is there are unique decks for specialty units or specialty mechs. So in the first one we have a Scout Hover, I believe, right?
Yeah, the specific hover, I think it's Hover Striker.
Hover Striker.
Mr. Classic.
And then we have one for mechs with Jump Jet Strong. So it accounts for those special abilities and rules, so the deck behaves more along those lines, right? The Scout decks are going to behave like Scouts, right?
There's no Kraken in box 2, 3, or 4.
There's no
different,
what?
There's different
Different
minis.
mechs.
Yeah,
Different
mechs.
minis in every box. Every box.
Classic Core was like combine several boxes, just wanting to do with the extra cards. Look, the cards are so versatile, meaning that this is the way I would play the game. Is that like you can take different, like you can take the Jump Strong or not Jump Strong. You can take a skirmish deck from the first box, and if there's a different skirmish deck in the second box or third box, and you can shuffle them together or custom build your own thing to your own set of cards to make that deck out of skirmish cards. Hell, you could take a skirmish card, a juggernaut card, a scout card, a hover tank, not a hover tank, whatever. You could take a bunch of those cards and shuffle them into some weird eclectic deck, and you'll get a mech that's basically Paul. He's drunk and doesn't know what he's doing on the field. But you'll get this like
Friday
really,
night, not yet.
you'll get this like it's versatile enough that you can have fun with it. But if you want to play militant and tactical and play the game for what it's supposed to be, in terms of its like out of the box experience, is you can start mixing like decks together to be able to create more unique, subtle, unique behaviors between the mechs. You don't want it to be too dramatic, but the subtleties is what makes it feel like you're playing a real opponent. Is that just like the way the mech would behave just by swapping a few cards out is not dramatically different, but it is enough that if you are a hardcore player and you like to play by the list, this will be enough that you should be able to play the deck in a way that you'll understand. And last point, because we like to talk, last point is Aces is I've always said this, even in the streams I was doing before these guys got involved. Aces, my experience of Aces is that it is as good as you are as a player. The more in tune with the game you are as a player, the more difficult the deck becomes, because it is still subject to interpretation at certain points. It gives you very interesting sets of instructions as to how to move your enemy mech on yourself. You can be the kind of person that's like, well, I think it would go here because then I get a better shot on it. It's kind of like cheating. That's cool too, because if you want to just blow up mechs and say you kicked ass, that's great. I don't. I like losing against my own deck. I like losing against myself. But the reality is, I don't think I'm a... Well, I mean, I'm better than Paul, because so far every game I've played I've won. But I think I'm an okay BattleTech player. I don't think I'm that good.
You're a good game player.
I'm a good game player, but I make the decks play harder because that's just my interpretation. If you are a heavy strategic player and you want to push your own limits, what's cool about Aces is the guidelines are going to help you put those mechs in positions that when you put your own flair and touch on the interpretation, you'll make the deck way harder if you're a strategist. And that is what's interesting about, as you get better in the game with yourself, the decks get better. And that is awesome. Right?
It's a hive mind concept, right? So it plays to your strength, obviously, because the decks do not have their own eyes. They do not have their own ears. We've talked about this in the past. There's a lot left for your interpretation, and the better you are as a player, you're going to interpret things differently. So, if the three of us are sitting here at the table, he's a good game player. Jesse's a good narrative player. I've got the experience of years of metagaming going,
He's very old.
Yeah, right? So we all read move forward, for example. It tells us to move closer to your opponent and maybe get cover and stay out of line of sight. Tommy looks at it and goes, this move is the right one, right? All right, this is what I think's right. Everybody looks at it, and then Jesse goes, well, that's right, but it's a Jade Falcon. It's a Jade Falcon, and he would do this as more narrative, but still meeting those objectives or requirements of the card, and moves it there. And then I go, you got it both right, but you went too far. You went too close to him by 2 inches because of the meta and the range, and then I move it back, and then all of a sudden you got the optimum narrative gamer move.
Yeah, and we're all playing together,
and we get beat by it.
And we're making the deck even more hard. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, that's Ace's deck. That's good.
Yeah. Catching up with some of the questions that came up there, Chris, I hear you. The Gothic salvage boxes are weighted towards the Atlas. It's because each of the 5 different ones are an individual SKU.
Yep.
So instead of being one like out of 8, you're getting 1 out of 12, but 5 of them are the Atlas. So that's why that happens. We've seen a bunch of that too. Andrew, will the Aces decks be tournament legal? I mean, there's no rule in the books that say a dog can't play basketball. Your opponent may find it a little off kilter, but you could stand there with the cards and play your units that way.
This Adepticon,
and that would work.
I am going to go into a tournament and use the Aces decks. I'm going to make no decisions for myself. I'm just going to play the Aces decks and interpret them as I read them, and we're going to see how far it goes.
New Vandenberg, to answer your question, what's in the boxes? Obviously, we can't release everything that's
Some
not
stuff has
out
been
yet,
out.
but
Some
we
stuff
we
is
can
out.
tell you what the boxes are about because that's out. There is one Aces box for each of the 4 Ilclan era source books.
You know what's funny? I couldn't tell you what's in the box even if I wanted to. I've seen it all, but I do not know how to interpret the hieroglyphics of what those mechs are.
Vandenberg. You are getting 3 more Aces boxes after scouring Sands. One is based off of the Dominion's Divided source book that is going to be focusing on the Ghost Bear Civil War. It has been publicly revealed that the 2 new molds in that are the Viking 2C and the Rime Otter. The box after that is going to be Capellan themed. That's Wrath and Reprisal. They haven't talked anything else about that yet. And then the 4th box is, I believe, Controlled Burn. The keyword is Burn, which is going to be Snow Ravens. And we haven't talked anything about those units that are in there yet. We do know them, but you have to wait patiently.
Wanderlust.
Yeah.
Question about Classic.
I got it.
So, Classic is somewhat compatible with the Aces decks now. We've run multiple streams using the Aces decks and
it's
Classic
subjective,
BattleTech.
right?
You have to think about it a little more because it doesn't account for things like ammunition expenditure, facing changes, and heat, right? The Aces decks do control heat in the Alpha Strike manner. You have to interpret it a little more. Do they work right out of the box right now? As long as you are a little bit creative and you want it to work very well, it will work very well for you. There will be development on
Classic. The classic Aces decks, we will have they're going to first off they're going to be larger cards. They're going to be more tarot-sized cards.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more information to queue in, and there'll be extra steps and extra iconography. Because again, from my limited experience of playing Classic, it is a very different game than Alpha Strike. In terms of the pouncing. Plus, there's also the whole melee phase. There's knocking things over phase. There's a lots of changes to the game, complexity creep to Classic that we just have to account for in the AI, and that's all. We have to make sure that falls into place in the correct order. It is well designed. It's being worked on now. I've done Classic with Aces before, with Alpha Strike's Aces, and I think it almost plays enough.
It works smooth every time we've used it.
It works enough that you can do it, but if you really want the true nuances of what BattleTech does for people, like the Classic cool factor about everything that they're working on, we're going to end up doing a Classic thing. Now, there are some changes to Classic coming, so part of the Classic changes are also in league with the Classic Aces that are coming. So Aces will be developed fully in tandem with the new changes that are coming for Classic. Yeah.
Logic just going off of the first release for the playtest.
Hey.
Yeah.
Right.
Trolling Tortoise, welcome to Six Sides, Stan. Thanks for the, is that a membership, right? Thank you.
I assume that's what that means.
Yeah, that's great. We love our members, man. New member.
So setting up a special deck for, let's say, a named character is possible. That's cool. Yeah, eventually you're probably going to see that kind of thing get released at
Welcome
some
to
point.
Six Sides,
Special character
Stan.
decks or faction themed, which you're already getting now, right, in the boxes.
I
So
love Trolling
there'll
Tortoise.
be stuff coming up.
Trolling Tortoise. It's a great name.
Any other questions there before we give it a wrap for Friday night?
We'll give him a second to catch up, I guess,
Yep.
in case there's anything there. But while we start while we're waiting for the questions, there's a lot of Focht stuff to drop off.
Yep.
So as discussed, these folks will be back on Sunday.
These
For the
folks?
special.
Folks?
These folks. We'll be back for the special Canadian Thanksgiving edition of Thanksgiving Aces. We're going to be playing the Kaiju game.
We're going to carve up the kaiju for dinner.
Yep, they're absolutely going to need your support to get through that. So please join that stream. Please lend your support. Let's see what you can do. After that, first thing Monday morning, the latest episode of the Second Circuit, the Casual BattleTech Hangout podcast, will be available. In this episode, the usual hosts are joined by Paul to talk Fochts Network. So you want to get a little bit of the background and sort of some of the stuff, how this all got to where it is today, feel free to join in. And, of course, please subscribe to that. There's a new episode of that podcast every week. Monday evenings is the weekly game in Barrie at Sir Games-A-Lot. That's with Joe and Henny. where they are running all kinds of fun BattleTech stuff. But they've got a new dropship up there. They've got lots of really cool terrain set up. That game is a blast. They just did a big Aerotech thing last week, so there's always something cool and interesting there. Wednesday is Weekly Wednesday Armored Combat at the Hairy Tarantula in downtown Toronto. That's with myself and Scott and Austin. We've got some fun Sky stuff happening this week as well at that game, so be sure to check that out in the Focht Hyperpulse Discord server. Running out of air. And then Friday, we'll be back again with Friday Night Aces. Woof!
Well, I think that's it. Tommy, do you got anything to add?
I will be gone to GameholeCon for the RPG side of things, so there'll be some Destiny stuff there. I'll be in Auckland. If you're in the New Zealand area for some reason, I'm in Auckland for about 9 days at Armageddon Expo. Come say hi, especially if you're a BattleTech fan. And then I'll be back just in time to go to DreamHack in Atlanta, which is more video game focused, plus some D&D on stage. Not BattleTech, but I'll be gone for 3 weeks. When I come back, we'll continue the game. I'll jump into the games and stuff here. And then Mr. Classicor asks if the next box will be themed around mercenary gameplay. Every box will have the mercenary theme to it because you're playing mercenaries going from one box to the next, and you want to carry your story all the way through. But there might be more story as you get there around...
And for that matter,
faction specific.
If you want to run the campaign and say you're actually, AFFS or a clan or what have you, there's nothing to stop you from doing that. It's easy to swap things out by point value.
Oh, Trolling Tortoise, that's a really good question. Will you be bringing aces to other games as well? We actually, the first one that was done in our team was by Josh, and it's called Heroes of the Aturi Cluster, where he took X-Wing and made it a one-player cooperative game. And that was just a passion project, which actually what got him involved with Lynn Vander. And then from there, he flipped. It was from there I got WizKids to invest in us to turn Star Trek Attack Wing into the Alliance system. Lots of A's. And so the Alliance system is what the Heroes of Terry Cluster came officially for Star Trek, and it was that system that Randall fell in love with. So when I went to him and said we can turn BattleTech into a one-player variant, he believed we could because we did it with Attack Wing. Aces and then Classic Aces, so there's at least 6 to 8 box sets worth of stuff over the next 2 to 3 years, is where a lot of our heart and soul is. We have an Aces style one-player cooperative variant for the game Snapships Tactics, where you can build your little ships with like these Lego-like pieces, interlocking plastic bits. It's a very fun game. Large ships with large table, completely different than most of the stuff you've played. But if you like that stuff, it has its own Aces-style program as well. And we have been approached by several publishers who have large game properties, like Wings of War and stuff like that, that have asked us to put into the pre-development of Aces-style systems. There's at least 3 companies asking us. No, not Games Workshop, at least not yet. But the reality is, we are starting to get a lot of inquiry from large miniature play companies that have shaped and shifted the miniature industry for us over the years. And I guess we're getting kind of known as the Aces guys, the one-player cooperative folks, the cooperative Canadians. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have more systems for it, but any game we ever create or bring out that's a miniature-based battle game or any sort of tactics game, we will always do a solo and cooperative player variant because that's inclusive, and that's what we do.
David can't answer the question that specifically yet. That's a Catalyst answer. He's asking if aerospace fighters.
We can't say anything about that right now.
Yeah. Catalyst will announce each box set and its contents for marketing purposes at times strategic to the release of each box.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that, everybody, we thank you for being here tonight for Friday Night Aces. We hope to see you again next week. Yep. Remember, like and subscribe, comment. Your support, membership is greatly appreciated, so we can continue to keep bringing you cool stuff. And you pay me enough, I'll be able to keep Tommy out of the streams, and we'll all be happy.
Or you pay enough, I can get Paul out of the streams, you can talk to me more.
Pay me enough, I can get them to pay off against each other, and I can take over the whole thing.
Have a great week.